Ford's 2025 F-150 Lightning arrives. Welcome back to Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin. With us from Ford is the Product Marketing Director for EV Trucks, Jason Mace. Hi, Jason.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Well, just about 3 years, I think, after the all-electric F-150 Lightning began production, here comes the 2025 version. Fill us in on some of the headlines here.
Yeah, great memory. So it has been 3 years since we started production about this time. And for 2025, we're learning from our customers and adding new features. And for this year, we're excited to bring in some enhancements to our Blue Cruise hands-free driving technology. Something we heard from customers was they wanted more control when going around curves, smoother operation and centering in the lane. So there's some enhancements we've made for the product on Blue Cruise. They wanted some appearance changes. So we've entered a dark elements package, which is basically black ovals, black badging, black wheels, black interior, just kind of give a pop of color against lighter colors. By the way, fun fact, white is ordered on about 25% of Lightnings. That's the highest I've seen in the Ford Motor Company lineup. People really like the crisp white appearance. So this dark elements package really provides a nice contrast. So you got Blue Cruise, dark elements. We also heard with the entering into the Tesla's charging network, folks were trying to find an easier way to identify those charging stations. And Apple worked with us to add NACS charging stations into their Apple Maps and into wireless Apple CarPlay in our vehicle. So another nice new enhancement. And those are some of the biggest things. But then also our best-selling model is called the Flash. We brought that in 24 model year. And as we enter into 25, we've done some things to increase its payload because we discovered that EV truckers and Lightning owners in particular really like to haul home projects, sporting equipment, camping equipment. So we made some adjustments to increase the payload over 2,100 pounds. So those are really the new enhancements for 25 in the spirit of continuous improvement.
That's terrific. And I understand there's a smarter charging function too. Tell me about that.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention that. Thank you. So when you go do DC fast charging, we've actually increased the fill rate from 450 amps to 500 amps. So a little bit quicker on the charge. Also, though, we heard from customers that they wanted to have the real-time charging info inside their vehicle in the display. Previously, you could only see it on the Ford Pass app. Now you can see it inside the vehicle. You can set a universal charge standard across any charger you plug into, which is nice. And those are a couple nice enhancements that we're missing.
And is there no longer an adapter needed to use the Tesla charging network?
You still will need an adapter. So the industry still has either CCS, which is the standard that we launched with, or the NACS plug. But with the Lightning, if you order our mobile power cord, which you can plug in anywhere, either on 110 or 240, it comes with that Tesla adapter, that NACS adapter. So we try to make it as easy as possible for folks to have either standard available.
Let's talk a little bit more about that dark elements packaging available and where it's available on certain trim.
Yeah, thanks. It's actually on our Platinum. So our top trim level, the Platinum, has 22-inch wheels. Those are blackened to give a nice sinister appearance. Take all the badges that have grabber blue in the background. Those are all blacked out, including the ovals. It's not very often in the history of Ford Motor Company that will take anything other than a blue oval and put it on a vehicle. We've darkened that to kind of give it a cool custom touch. And then a black interior, which wasn't available on the Platinum previously.
Terrific. So you mentioned some things, I think, but what have we learned about the typical buyer, people who are interested in the F-150 Lightning?
Well, there are a handful of things that really kind of stand out when you go to customer clinics and you ask folks why they bought one, or even people who are shopping them. And when it comes down to it, people still want truck functionality. And for them, that means using the box to haul heavy things, big things, dirty things. They really still will use the box a lot. What we found is they still tow, but when they tow, they're towing maybe 50 miles or less. They're towing a boat to a slip. They're going to a local campground, or they have a utility trailer to kind of go back and forth with projects. Versus our internal combustion F-150 owners, those folks are doing a lot of long haul towing. Maybe they're taking a camper and they're going to national parks and they want to be able to drive further distances while they're towing. We found is, in particular for EV trucks, It's an awesome commuter vehicle, meaning you still have that zero emission, fun to drive, great acceleration commute, but then you still have that truck capability with the box in the back. And then the unlock for a lot of people to look at an EV truck versus an internal combustion truck, obviously they say driving dynamics because it's seamless, quick acceleration. They say, I want to drive and save money on my fuel. They're spending maybe a quarter to a third what they would have spent on gasoline previously to fill up every night. And then the frunk. A lot of contractors are really enjoying the power frunk. And because it's lockable, it's protected, it's waterproof, and there are outlets to charge tools and keep things protected. And I'll be an example. I coach baseball. I put all that dirty, nasty baseball equipment in the back, the bases, the bats, the catcher's gear, the mud, everything that's muddy goes in the box. But then if I had to make a run to the store, I could put the groceries or anything else or the Home Depot run in the front and keep it clean. So it's nice to kind of keep it separated and have different ways to haul things.
Very nice. Well, tell us about some of the competitive advantages of the F-150 Lightning.
Yeah, thanks for asking that one, actually. So I'll start off with the fact that people trust Ford trucks. We've been the best-selling line of trucks for 48 years running, and that's because we listen to our customers. And everyone can execute an EV truck with a frunk, but we have the largest available power frunk right now in the industry. You say, well, I didn't have a frunk before. Well, once you've had it, like me, it's a game changer. So something as simple as that frunk storage. Another thing that we've learned along the way from our customers is making sure we have the right amount of capability. And for us, you can still do 10,000 pounds of towing, and you can still haul over 2,000 pounds of payload. So again, doing those truck things, and we didn't stray from that. And as you look at some of the competitive trucks, you'll find really small frunks. They put one there, but they're not really usable. Or maybe the box can't handle the normal truck responsibilities you have for weight and size. Or when you get back inside the cabin, we have a full size. People love the full size cabin of the F-150. It ports over from the internal combustion truck. So those are all things that come into play. I think, again, we also have now been in the market. This will be our fourth model year. So we've had time in market to learn and adjust based on customer usage. And I would say people can trust an F-150 Lightning just like they can trust the F-Series lineup.
And when it was initially introduced, there was a lot of publicity about the ability to power your home in an emergency. And have you found that that's popular?
We have found Pro Power on board. So we have two ways to power things. Pro Power on board with outlets in the pickup box, the 240 outlet, also outlets up front in the front, is wildly popular. We can see, we can look at usage data and we anonymize it. There's no name attached to it, no geography, just so you can see how people are using the truck. And people use the outlets quite a bit for camping, for projects, for even in my neighborhood, they did a movie night. I put a projector in the box and had the kids set up in the pickup box. We projected a movie out onto a screen in the summertime. And that's something that you can't do with just any product. But then to your point, the intelligent backup power is pretty amazing as well. So the ability to power your home right from the battery, which it really is a rolling generator when you think about it. And that's pretty cool too, powering up your home. We have found Pro Power on board in particular is a lot more popular just because you don't have to modify anything in your home and people plug in and use that even in power outages. But the intelligent backup power is a nice additional way to deliver power to the home.
So tell us about the different configurations, a bit about pricing, and when people can get their hands on these.
So thanks again. So our 25 model year, if you were to visit Ford.com today, you'll start to see all the specifications and pricing. And for us at retail, pricing starts around $62,000 for our entry model, and it goes all the way up in ladder to about $85,000 where that platinum sits. And in between there, that's 62 to 85, we have two battery configurations. So we start with 240 miles of standard range, or our more popular configuration is either the 300 or 320 miles of range, depending on which model the battery's installed in. Depending on the weight of the vehicle and size of the wheels, you get a little difference in range. But 300 miles seems to be the sweet spot for owners who are driving the Lightning and also those who are shopping. There, you're probably charging a couple times a week at home and still covering off all your daily commutes and your trips. But 62 to 85, we have XLT, Flash, Lariat, and Platinum. So 4 trim levels. And each one, as you move up, you're picking up either battery size, features like leather, and other electronic upgrades like a 15-inch touchscreen, which is a pretty nice user experience.
Do we know if tariffs are going to have an impact on the pricing here?
So great question. I can tell you there are much smarter people than me at Ford Motor Company working on that question and talking to the federal government. Uh, Anything is possible, but I would say this. We're grateful for the partnership we've had with President Trump and our members of Congress. I think we'll find a way forward altogether, but right now, certainly some uncertainty. But I would say our goal is always to try to make our vehicles attainable to customers, no matter what headwinds we may face.
And how does Ford view the market for EVs today? I mean, it seems to have slowed down from the initial thrust, but tell us what you're seeing.
So that's an interesting question because you're right. I think there was a lot of exuberance about the growth of EVs in the marketplace, either between policy or just organic growth from customers. And the market is still growing. It's just not growing as fast as maybe it was projected a couple of years ago. And in particular, Ford is actually, we're up 15% year over year on our EV sales with the Mustang Mach-E, the E-Transit, and the F-150 Lightning. So we continue to see steady growth each year that we're in the market, and that's good. I would say EVs represent probably about 8 to 9% of the total industry. So one out of every 12 new vehicles sold in the United States. In particular, where the Lightning plays, electrified pickups represent about just shy of 10% of all half-ton pickups being sold right now. So the pickup segment's growing in terms of electrification. The overall industry is growing, just not as fast as people may have thought. And I'm okay with that. You want people to make the choice that works for them. And you want people to discover that the technology is what it's something that fits their lifestyle. I personally have now driven over 50,000 miles, fully electrified miles, and I can say I will always have an EV in my household. And I love the technology, but it's one of those things that people have to experience and realize that it works for them, that you wake up every morning and you can plug in your car or truck overnight and you're fully charged. And that's a pretty nice convenience. And then you realize that it's quiet, quick, smooth, does all the things you'd want it to do. But I think we'll see more organic, steady growth as people experience EVs.
Think there is still a lot of misconceptions out there?
Oh, yeah. I still go to gatherings and people ask me questions like, what happens if I plug in my EV in the rain? Will I get electrocuted? Or, I mean, something as simple as that. And the answer is, of course, no, it's fully safe. But I think there are misperceptions out there about just how easy it is to charge, how easy it is to find charging, and the fact that over 80% of charging takes place at home if people have a garage or a dwelling where they can put it on a wall. And then for those who live in apartments or brownstones or structures with parking structures and they don't have a lot of chargers, they realize very quickly that, wow, I've got charging at a lot of places and offices, at shopping destinations, and a lot of places in plain sight. So I think the number one thing we'll continue to have to overcome as EVs grow is just having access to charging and feeling comfortable that you can charge and you can actually take a trip and charge very quickly and not really change your habits much from what you're doing today.
Terrific. Again, the site Ford.com, easy enough. Congratulations on the innovations there. Jason Mace, thanks for spending time with us.
Thank you so much.